Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you for tuning in. A very happy Sunday. If you are new on this channel, you are very much welcome, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment on this video. If you are one of the people who've been riding this journey with me and seeing growth of this channel, thank you for tuning in again. And you know what time it is, because on this channel we talk about everything lifestyle, from home decor, home living, and we travel around South Africa exploring the rural areas of South Africa, showcasing the beauty of the rural areas of South Africa and the developments that are happening there, and also in exploring the investment opportunities that are in the rural areas of South Africa. Hey, I'm hard at work trying to hit two birds with one stone. I'm busy working at this big conference in South Africa and also trying to collect as much information on investment in South Africa as I can, so that I can share it with you on this channel. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. First things first, I just need to grab breakfast because my office is right here today and I'm going to be spending the whole day here. So guys, join me as I am going to take you on a journey where you are going to learn quite a lot of information. I'm at a very big conference in South Africa right now. I hope you're good, guys. I am kind of like working hard, but at the same time gaining a lot of knowledge. I'm gaining a lot of knowledge that I'm going to be sharing with you. If you are young and you are looking at starting your business and you are looking at how you can invest in South Africa, you are in the right channel. If you are from outside of South Africa and you are looking at how and what business you can invest in South Africa, you are in the right channel. So stick around because there's going to be loads of information. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Johannesburg. Welcome to the industrial and commercial hub of South Africa, the big city, the city of gold, Johannesburg, where mountains are built of mine dams. Pass them around and you know exactly there's so much happening here. The digging of gold, as you can see on the left hand side. We are headed to Johannesburg. This is where I will be taking you guys today because there's so much to talk about. Definitely there is a lot to talk about, especially on the issues of business investment and what impact they have on us people who are living in the rural areas in South Africa. So stay tuned, there's going to be a lot of information. Johannesburg is a melting pot of different nationalities. Those who are coming from within South Africa, from different parts of South Africa, who migrated to come and work in the city of Johannesburg or invest in any kind of business or build their own careers in Johannesburg. And also people who are coming from the continent, who came in here to look for greener pastures, to improve their lives, as well as people who are coming internationally from outside the borders of the continent, who are coming here to invest their money and build their businesses and also help us improve South Africa economically. So as I'm passing here in the middle of the city and looking at the city and what it has become, it is no longer the same. Remember, the buildings that I'm passing right now, they were built during the apartheid system, and South Africa has really had a paradigm shift towards democracy that we have attained. And so much of the businesses or executive decisions that used to be made here in the inner city are no longer being made in the city. Democracy has put a stop on that, and the new city has been built, Sandton City, where business decisions, executive decisions are made, where investments are made, where big conglomerations and multinational companies are located, where it has become the hub of commercial and industrial growth of South Africa. So we are in Sandton City today and we are at the 4th investment conference in South Africa. It's happening in South Africa at the Sandton Convention Centre. This is the 4th South African investment conference. It's been happening for the past 3 years. This year is the 4th year, and there is a lot to learn. We have people who are coming from different parts find out what South Africa has to offer. And it's very interesting to just like be part of this. And I'm taking you guys with me, so I'm going to be taking you now to the exhibition stands so that you can see who is here, who's exhibiting here. And then yes, let's go, guys. Guys, I've just met one of the subscribers, and he's here also. And your name is?
Sandton.
Lisa Teto.
Yeah.
Actually, he recognized me by my voice.
Yeah.
So, guys, my voice is really trending than anything else. Thank
Good.
you.
Keep it up.
So I'll see you on YouTube on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now guys, that was so humbling. That was so special. Meeting one of the subscribers here in this conference. I'm very humbled. Anyway, guys, I'm taking you through to the breakaway sessions that are happening here, from small business to tourism to local business development to so many. And I decided to just screen grab the program because it showcases all of them that are happening here. I mean, like, seriously, there's so much that has been talked about here. I am very, very interested in so many, but I cannot attend all of them. So I've decided to just try and make sure that I attend as much as I can, and especially something that's relevant to rural development, because I'm very curious. I didn't see anything listed on rural development in South Africa and investment in rural areas. So I'm yet to find out what are they saying about us in the rural areas. The small business breakaway session was one of the sessions that really caught my attention, because there was a lot that was said, especially regarding the stumbling blocks that each and every small business owner is facing in South Africa. And here it is.
And just to show how we make it so hard in the formal economy for those in the informal to actually get business done. And without even telling you how the story ought to end, you'll easily see that there is a bridge to be crossed, and it's not for people in the informal economy to bend their way to the thinking in the formal, but perhaps the other. A group of gents belong to Stockholm. They didn't really know what they were saving money for. They just put money aside because something might come up, and they got to about 120,000 Rand. One of them had an idea to do backroom accommodation in Soweto, and it needed about 450,000 Rand to put up these rooms, and he was going to collect rent, and the returns are staggering. The difficulty is that he only has 120 grand with his group. Now, they want to go and raise the rest of the money. It's going to take them a few more years to get to 450, and they'd like to go to the bank. Any institution will start by asking for current financials, and then they'll ask for a 5-year business plan, which includes income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow, which is a very long way of saying no. It's not going to happen. But you take my young kid, and he'll say to you, if you give me 120 and you want to borrow the balance of 450, I think we can get you there. As a banker, I will share with you the secret of banker. We accept that at some point we have to lend you money. As much as we love our money, we have to give you some at some point. And when we do, we have to ascertain the answer to 2 questions, and you'll see how it relates to the group. And the answer to the second is just as important as the answer to the first. The answer to the first question is, does the individual, or in this case, does the group have the means to pay me back? And the second answer, or the second question is, does the group mean to pay me back? In the formal economy, in order to establish the answer to those 2 questions, we ask for business plans and credit checks and all sorts of manner of things, as though it's the only place that you can get that information. In the informal economy, you go to the fellows in the group and say, Mazwai wants to do this with this money. And they'll tell you whether you should give this money to Mazwai, because they know him. They know him intimately. They've never seen his personal balance sheet, but they know whether he's good for the money or he's not good for the money. And so this is when I'm saying, who should bend to whom? Do we expect these group of gents to bend themselves into these many forms that we give at a bank? Or should the bank rather find a way to tap into the knowledge that already exists that can answer these questions? And with a few clever people and a spreadsheet, you can then create a lending mechanism that can allow these people to borrow. And in that way, I believe that if we bridge the formal, or we can bridge the formal and the informal economy without putting an undue onus on what is the overwhelming majority of the population to bend to rules that often do not make sense to them.
Would it be possible to include the whatever reforms are required per department in the performance contracts of the officials to ensure that the reforms are implemented and there's accountability there? The second question was around the timelines of the reforms and what are the critical success factors. Okay. And then the last question, do you remember, it was around the kind of xenophobic narrative that has developed around South Africa, and so what is government thinking about supporting South African companies who need to operate elsewhere on the continent, because that does affect their ability to engage.
Thank you, Pamela. Third-party accessing freight rail, it's happening this year, and also the Ngquqa and Durban container terminals, the partnership is happening this year. The finalization of the transmission, the independent subsidiary company, is this year. But let's go to the performance contract. Fortunately, I lead the planning performance, the planning, monitoring and evaluation. When the cabinet met last year, we adopted what we call National Annual Planning Instrument to ensure that the long-term planning instrument of the medium-term strategy framework finds a proper pronouncement in a given year. That led to a situation where you have a government plan so that all the departmental plans find resonation with the government plan. Therefore, what does that mean? Is that annual performance plans this year were being tested for their relevance to those priorities. Amongst those priorities is dealing with hunger, crime, violence, energy, and so on. And they've been analyzed twice. We are finalizing them this week. The Parliament wants them next week. By the end of April, all managers must have finalized their performance contract. The issue, what is new? One of the things we're trying to do by the end of this month, we'll be very clear about it, is that there are major catalytic projects that do not wait for quarterly assessment, because you need to know at the very early stage whether they are taking off or not. As we analyze plans for different departments, what we check for is what we call theory of change. That which you commit to do, can it lead to transmission to actually lead into an effect to the object of change, which is a person. So all those things, there will be performance contracts, there will be timelines, and all those performance contracts are going to go to the website. And then the timelines to Tobias, I think I've tried to respond.
Yes.
A lot of these things do have their what you call their timelines.
Be brief again. So the reforms that we've spoken about are largely dealing with some of the basics to get an economy working, to get things started. But we know very well that in order to have and sustain growth over long periods of time, you need to upgrade the capabilities of an economy to produce goods and services to the point that they are internationally competitive. So from your perspectives, what are the things that have been done right so far, and what else could we do to build on the success that we're seeing from the reforms in terms of supporting growth? I'll start with you this time, Isaiah.
I think one of the aspects that may need to be looked at is really the reforms at a local government level. The ones that we're talking about now so far are really national in their coverage, but small businesses, individual entrepreneurs, they are found in local government, and that is where we have an ability, at least a chance to improve our job creation. If you look in the rest of the continent, more than 60% of jobs are created by small medium enterprises, and they operate at a local level. The legislative framework in our local government is quite inhibitive for individuals or small businesses to operate. And I have not yet had a review that is undertaken to look at those inhibiting legislation at local government levels that can also attract investment. Because remember, it's not countries that compete with countries, it's companies that compete with companies in different countries. And it's regions that compete with regions in different places. So we need to see a relook at how local government legislation inhibits the creation of jobs that can actually help to attract investment into those localities.
Thank you. So a strong point around what's happening at the local level. Bulane, would you come in?
Yeah, I think I would support investor funding, which is always a challenge, and it is a particular challenge insofar as SMEs that are owned by black women in this country. The second are the payment terms. The fact that there is no clarity or certainty around when goods and services will be paid for, and that's a significant challenge for the sustainability of small to medium-sized enterprises. And the last, of course, is really streamlining these complex and inconsistent supply chain mechanisms. I think if those were the central focus, we would begin to see growth, and we would begin to see the quality and efficiency of services and products at an international level. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do so.
Sure. Thanks. Richard, I mean, you had an announcement narrative that's developed around South Africa.
That's a challenging question. I always answer that question this way. The ideal in Africa is that we are a seamless continent. That is not debated across the board. But moving in that direction, we need to go there legally. Because if we do not move in that direction legally, the very dream can be sabotaged and be stillborn. The point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't matter what you think now. We've got 50-something countries in Africa. They are sovereign states. And all citizens of those countries, they view those countries in a particular, whether it was formed by a colonialist, but that's how it's existing now. But if we've got an ideal of a seamless Africa that works together, you walk that path legally. And if you do it legally, you protect that interest against the citizens of South Africa so that they believe in it. You make citizens of Nigeria to believe in it. You make the citizens of Ghana to believe in it. But if it comes across as dislodging people of Nigeria, it can be misunderstood and be reacted to negatively, and the ideal dream may not be realized. And that is what has been misunderstood. Of course, the big challenge here is that even ourselves as the state, we have to improve dramatically in terms of intervention, and also educate our people very strongly to say to them, it can never be sustained, any method of taking law into their own hands, and to educate them that a united Africa is where we are going. South Africa without the continent.
Increasing discussion about xenophobia in South Africa affecting the ability of firms to invest on the continent, and do you have some inputs or ideas on what government could do to kind of quell those concerns?
So let me make 2 points. I guess it also responds to the question of the speed and the timing of reforms. We have been depressed so much because the economy has been underperforming, such that we miss the turning points. It's quite possible when you look at trends, turning points are difficult to pinpoint. But in our perspective, looking at the long term, which is another factor as well that South Africans, we are very short-term oriented, and we don't take a longer-term outlook on things. What has happened? We have seen a change in trajectory in a number of areas. The president earlier on in his keynote address said they have changed the way they want to operate state-owned companies. The minister just alluded to the corporatization of some of these SOEs. 10 years ago, it would never have been a discussion. You would never have seen an SAA that is part privatized. You would never have seen an ESCOM that is broken down and with an option to introduce private players. You would never have even had a discussion about corporatizing Transnet, essentially opening up sectors of the economy where the state has been a monopoly to the private sector. It was not a discussion. These things are happening. So looking at a long-term perspective and detecting the trends, the trajectory has changed. What remains a challenge is the speed of implementation, and there is no disagreement about it. And that's where we need to see the speed being accelerated. As to why we are seeing the slow implementation, I think the minister is better placed to provide that response than I can.
Very interesting, but I'm yet to hear about rural development specifically. It was only the tourism breakaway that hinted a little bit on rural development, but it was after a question had been raised. So this conference was not focused on any way, anyhow, on rural development and investment in the rural areas, but it was overall about South Africa in general. Anyway, I'm going to take you guys through the exhibition area so that you can see who exhibited in this beautiful, beautiful setup. ladies and gentlemen, comment down below what do you think of the conference. If you are from the rural areas, is there anything that you would have loved to hear from this conference? Please comment down below. Somebody else will see our comments and maybe that will help us change everything that is happening around in our country and try and help other people make better decisions. But overall, the conference was so beautiful and very well done, and it was attended by so many people, and it had a lot of information for us to consume and take it with us as citizens, as also as business people who are economically active in South Africa. And we wouldn't end any South African conference or anything of that matter without us singing Jerusalem. Alright guys, we are done. The conference is almost finished, and then guess what? I meet another subscriber. I am very well.
Yes.
He's talking about petrol. Petrol is really getting expensive. And he's telling me to tell you guys. Tell them.
Let's not let the petrol stop the convention story. We are seeing places we've never seen, and we're looking forward to it.
Yes, guys, you heard that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to the subscriber I met at the end of the conference. He just made a good point over there. Guys, please make sure you watch all the ads so that I can make money and be able to travel around the country and showcasing the beauty of South Africa. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.